Welcome back to Face Off Around the Culture, the HBCU Weekly Band Recap. I'm your host, Horatio.
I'm your host, Vidal. What's going on? What's going on this week, brother?
Hey, man, back at it again. Look, we missed last week, but I'm glad we are back this week. We had a good 2 weeks of band that we didn't, really get to cover, but a really good week. We were talking about last week, or the week or two before that, I'm saying, it was getting kind of slow, but I feel like it picked up. What you think about the band week this week?
Man, this is the week where all the bands that have been in hiding or haven't been playing nobody decide to show their face, man. So I'm glad we get to see them. I'm glad that we get the experiences this week. Because we looking at the schedule last week was a little kind of skipped. I'm not going to lie to you. But this week we got some good stuff, man. I'm excited.
Definitely. Okay. So I want to start off the show with the discussion because it came across my timeline in the band world on Instagram, and I thought it was funny. I want to discuss band fights. Band fights. Now, I'm not talking about just like we've all seen fights in practice. I mean, you spend so much time with the same people. There's going to be conflicts or whatever. But I saw a video of a band fight. It was Norfolk State. And Norfolk State has the Spartan guards. They have the whole militaristic style, and their job is kind of protect the band, especially the dancers, the auxiliary. When they go somewhere, they kind of protect them. And I saw them in a fight with some of the Morgan State football players, and I was thinking, man, like, when is the last time you see bands fighting in their uniform? Actually, have you ever been a part of that? Have you ever seen your band fight? Now, I'm not talking about practice. We've all seen practice fights. I'm talking about uniform where somebody can come with their phone and report it. What you think about the band fights? You ever been a part of it? You ever seen it?
Okay. So let me take some steps back, right? Because a lot of things just came to my head, right? Because then we see the Spartan guards at A&T versus A&T Drumline, like what?
Yeah,
a couple years back.
That was like 2016.
Yeah, that was one thing. So I'm like, yeah, dang, what's up with the Spartan guards? But anyway, have I been a part of any? No. Have I seen any? No. Was I present around when what happened? Yeah. So little small story time. It's time passed. Who cares now? Like, so in 2016, Honda. Right. So coming out of 2015, Stephen, into 2016, Honda at the top of the year, whatever. There was a altercation between Jackson State Drumline and the Honda security guard. I didn't see nothing. I wasn't there. This is not the politically correct. I ain't see nothing. Like, I literally didn't see nothing. I just heard a whole bunch of rumbling and heard there was drums going around because security cut rank. And let's talk about what's your opinion on cutting rank and random people cutting rank?
I was just about to say. Do you know how like upset a band member has to be to start fighting? Like, to take their mind off of music in that situation, start fighting, and cutting the ranks is one. We've all been in a situation where, like, a little kid or like an old lady who don't know what she's doing or whatever, she just happens to walk through, and you gotta be like, all right, you got to put the arm out, you got to say something. But I think where it becomes a problem is when the person doubles down on and you go, hey man, back up, whatever, and they go, so watch it, man, bro, get out of here. Okay, yeah, okay. Now we're about to show you we not just some bandits, bro. And I think whenever it's a fight versus somebody in the public, not another band, because we know, fighting with another band, we already know what it is. It's about, the pride of your schools. But when it's somebody outside of the band, it's always about that. It's always like that person, they feel like that person looks at them like, just a band, all right, bro, just move it away. You remember the dude from Bethune that was at the Dolphins game, and he was trying to play, and the kicker was trying to kick, and the way that the kicker was treating him, that's how people feel when they start getting fights in uniform. They're like, get out of here, man. So yeah, cutting rank, I believe it's a big deal, but it's not that big deal. Right. And if you double down on it, you kind of deserve it because they actually nice.
I just think, man, look, if I'm gonna put it like this, man, if cameras didn't exist like they did, I would have a whole different take on all kind of rank.
Oh yeah, man. Man, it's crazy. But and also, if anybody in the chat or if anybody listening on the replay, definitely comment or your band fight stories. We would love to read them just because it's always good to see when the banders really get physical. You know what I'm saying?
I remember we was at a practice. It was at practice. We was doing Southern Heritage. I believe this is 2018. 2018, 2017, one of them. And a little kid cut through the rank, and I was at the end. He came through the other end, and I had I believe it was like majority freshmen in my row because we were the alternate players. And he almost got to the end, and I was looking over like, "Yo,
you put
what
that foot out?
Do?" Like, no. I took him back through.
Really? Like the auntie at the wedding, like, get your ass on here.
Like, so if I'm at the end, like, close, I don't even know if I was marching in or second from in, but I took him back through where we walked. And my section was looking at me like crazy. And the kid was just kind of like a little surprised, but he was like, okay, because I ain't dragging, I ain't throwing nothing. I was just like, kind of go back. And he used to always tell the story like, you made that little kid walk all the way through the ranks again? Yes, I did.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Man, your kid's definitely safer, man. All right. Okay. So I know you have a topic for tonight. Please let us know what the topic is so we can start the discussion.
So the topic for today is, let's talk about stadiums, man. Stadiums, I feel like we talk about the stadiums every year, man. We talk about Alabama State Stadium, how the visitor band just gets superpowers sometimes. We talk about Alcorn Stadium, the visitor band gets superpowers. We talk about Southern Stadium, where Southern put people in the corner, and since no one's sitting in the stands across from them, their sound is huge, immaculated, big, man.
Right.
And this week we had Alcorn versus Valley, and then we had Southern versus Texas Southern. So we got the little stadium things going on this week, man. So I think it's something to talk about, man, because
how important do you think that is? It's like that your positioning, where you sitting, because honestly, if we want to be real, it shouldn't matter, period. You know what I'm saying? You came to play, you came to battle, then it don't matter where they put you. You could be playing outside. You be like, yo, they cranking over there by the bus. You know what I'm saying? So, do you think that matters a lot?
I'm gonna say, as the band head with me, be like, it shouldn't matter. But then it's like, I know in situations it does, because you sat in different stadiums and then you hear your sound and it kind of beef you up a little bit. You like, whoa, you hit parades and you hit between them tight buildings or under the bridge. It's like acoustics is science, but it's like, I think it's up to the listener, right, to be able to tell, okay, we understand that the sound is playing the stadium or wherever we at plays a role, but it shouldn't be the determining factor in the victory of the battle, man. That's
definitely. So that is the theme of the episode, talking about stadiums and their impact on the game. All right. Where do you want to start, man? We got some good battles. We can recap from last week, and we can talk about this week as well.
I think we're gonna go ahead and plug our show real quick. So we did a reaction to Valley versus Jackson State, right?
Definitely.
So let's get into that one, man. So Valley versus Jackson State, home game for Valley, visiting game for Jackson State. We haven't seen too much of Valley this year. We saw them at I believe National Battle of Bands.
I feel like I've seen a lot of Valley this year. I feel like I'm valleyed out. Like high key, listen to them. I heard this one, know this one. So I feel like I'm valleyed out, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think now, I would say this week now, yes. I think going into the Jackson State thing, it was like, okay, this first test for them. Right. So going into that first big Mississippi rivalry game, home stadium, I feel like that was a really good battle. Valley showed some presence, but they also showed some lack of maturity that week. It really felt as though Valley was new into what they were doing. They were starting out, and they weren't as settled into their program and what their songs were during that battle. We could see it from the song selection. We could see it we heard a lot of them up-tempo good ones, right? Good up-tempo ones, but when you play them back-to-back and your opponent is giving you a lot of diversity, you start sounding the same. And in the battle, you never just want to sound repetitive or have your music lose its feeling because you're playing things of the same style and the same feeling over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
So with Jackson State, I felt like they came with a lot of strength and push, but I felt like this is one of those games where they didn't have as much clarity, but the song selection was really, really good for them.
Right.
What you think about that? Right.
Yeah, I think that's where you can beat a band like Valley, because in their mind they're coming like, oh, well, look, we got all these little up tempo ones that's really gonna put you to shame, right? Because it's Jackson, and we know we're not gonna play. So you're right, it did become repetitive. It's like, all right, like give me something else. And if you watch our reviews on Crank Up HBCU Band Podcast YouTube page, if you watch that review, you can see how like we're saying like, okay, we need something more. We need something like a little bit outside the box to really like get the crowd in, because we talked about this before on our show. Like, are you playing for the bands or playing for the crowd? Right? You got to be able to play that balance between both, especially playing to the crowd when you feel like your footing is losing, like when you're not getting these dubs each round. Because Valley got dubbed for me 8-0 by Jackson, right? Not because Valley was like a bad competitor or whatever. It's just song choice, clarity, and everything like that. It was leaning towards Jackson's favor. So I would say shout out to Valley, because they did show me a lot of them in that battle. It was a long battle. It was a pretty good one. But yeah, anything else on them? Because I actually want to talk about Valley versus Alcorn. That was this week.
Right. I think we can move on to that one, man. Shout out to both programs during that game. Showed us a lot. It just left me. I left that battle feeling like, okay, I know we're towards the end of the season, but I feel like both of these bands still have more in store.
Right. And to me, Valley did a great job against Alcorn. Great job. Now, what I will say is, when I'm writing my notes, I want to make sure I'm keeping the same energies when I write my notes. Because when I write my notes, I'm a little bit more, I'm more dialed in. I said this battle is the battle of the dirty crank. Valley versus Alcorn. Right. First of all, I will say I liked Valley's look. We just talked about stadiums. We're going to bring it back to the stadium look. Valley looked good in Alcorn Stadium, like just looks wise. Like they look better in their stadium than they did. I mean, in Alcorn Stadium than they did in theirs. Just the look of the band, like they look more, just better. So I thought that was good. Valley started off the battle with a song that I've been hearing all season. Alcorn starts with an up tempo that was good. So I had Alcorn taking the first round. I put Valley came back with a song that was very Crank Elementary, just high, very high syncopated notes. I really felt like it left them open. Alcorn seemed to come back with high energy, but to me the sound it sounded like they were straining. I got a lot of, so I put dirty crank. Like it's cranking, but it's not fully all the way there. And we were talking about up tempos and stuff like that. Like they're really, especially Valley, they're really driving the point home with these fast up tempo songs, but they're not really all together. A lot of messed up runs. I put a lot of missed notes, UFOs blaring. I put round 3. I need something finesse, something slow. Same thing we talked about at Jackson, right? Valley opened up, dirty crank rap song again. Alcorn played a gospel song, changed the mood. So now to me, Alcorn's up 2-1. 2-1 Alcorn. Valley came back with a groove, right? The best song of the night, in my opinion. In this battle, Valley really showed out on the back end of the battle. They played a groove. The best thing I heard the trumpets play, very good. Alcorn comes back with an up tempo, nothing that good. But so to me, Valley takes a round. So to me, now we're up 2-2. 2-2. So now it's like, to me that's not a good battle when you can have like it's equal maybe in the middle or towards the middle. It's like, oh man, we really get to see who can duke it out. Valley comes back, plays an up tempo song, clean rounds after they made it hard for Alcorn to come back. So Alcorn played Jumpstart, right? It was good, but it wasn't beating them, all right? And I put play the game, meaning like Alcorn, right? We just talking about up-tempo songs. Alcorn didn't really snatch it. That's what I said, play the game. You got to play the game in order to win. Like, give me something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's entertainment. We're battling with the phones. Come on, give it to me. After that, Alcorn played back to back, which I want to stop and ask this question because I wrote it down. Do you agree if a band is taking too long?
Yes.
That it is your right to play over them or to play or to take that spot. How do you feel about that? Because they did that in this battle when it wasn't time for them to leave. What do you think about that?
Look, if you towards it, I wait. Right, and I'm looking. And I'm waiting. And y'all don't even put your horns up. And we ready? We running another one, man. That late in the fifth, we running another one. I had no point because it's on you, man. Like, I feel like if you take it too long, you can't get it snatched. And I feel like that's on the people who, when it's your turn to respond, you got to respond. Because it's not like, we're looking at the clip, right? It's not like they rushed it out. It's not like they did a quick win. Right. There was some time up in there. There was some time up in there.
The camera turned the other way. Yeah.
Yes. And like Carissa says all the time, it's like when you've been banned, it's like almost like DJing. And you can't have dead space. You can't have dead air, dead space, man. So shout out to Hardcore for get another one. And I felt like it was good too. I felt like it was good.
Yeah. They sneaked that one in. But I left this battle really, I gave it a very slight margin to Valley, man. Because Alcorn did a really good job, but it is weird to see that Alcorn was so big and Valley was so small, and now it kind of just flipped. And just see that dichotomy of the band world is so funny to see. I gave it to Valley. What were your ending thoughts on this battle?
Man, it was so close to me. It made me nervous towards the end. I'm like, dang, I gotta go on the show and talk about this one. I don't know who won for real. It was so difficult because to me it flip-flopped, like you said. I think that towards the beginning of the battle, I think Alcorn, they really had some good selections that set them apart. And I felt like execution-wise, they was really neck and neck. So much, even though that I felt like Valley had a larger sound, a bigger sound, and Alcorn was smaller, and they had their home side. But I felt like it was still dead even because I could imagine putting Alcorn over there, and it would be of the same type of energy and volume. And I felt like they were clean in what they played. Everything that they played was clear, even though I could say that Alcorn kind of was a larger and stronger trumpet section, but all the music came across as far as like the listener being able to hear what it was, hear the parts, it was there. Towards that end, I see Valley start to creep up and Alcorn a little bit start to fade. But I felt like the last song for Alcorn was really good. And it really gave me that exclamation point of the end that I would like. So it's really hard for me to say. I had Alcorn edging it.
Wow. Oh, we haven't disagreed on a who won the battle in a while. But either way, it was really slim margins. And so shout out to both bands. And so speaking about slim margins, matter of fact, I don't want to go there. Matter of fact, we can. Did you watch Central versus South Carolina State?
I did not. I got into it. Watched like two songs. I was like, damn.
Okay, so since you didn't see it, let's hit that real quick. First of all, now you know I marched at the MEX school. I've seen these bands my whole, when I was marching. Bro, this is the best I've seen North Carolina Central and seen South Carolina State in a long time. And you know me, I associate greatness with having a big band. If you have a big program, I'm like, yo, they good. But I promise you, yo, South Carolina State is the cleanest I've seen them. And they're not even that big size that they once were, you know what I'm saying, even, a couple years ago. Great battle. Now, I will say this battle got a little worse towards the end, but still a good battle. The only thing I didn't like about this battle is that Central opened up with On My Mama, right? South Carolina State opens up with what? On My Mama. Bro, don't do that to the audience. Please don't do that to the audience, man. We talk about this, if you're going to play a song, not only does it have to be better, but the arrangement has to be, spectacular, because you're putting the audience literally through the same song twice. So it needs to be, when you play it, it needs to be like, wow, like I was waiting on it to play, or like That's how you play it. If you don't get that reaction, and it's really on the staff to really know and not have a big ego to play, well, they're playing this, so we're going to play it. No. Is our arrangement better? And is it going to work? Is the cry, is it a slow song? Oh, my mama's a slower song. So you put in the audience through that drawn out song, and it's like, it makes me not be on your side. So that's something that I think that South Carolina State needs to do better with, is play calling, because they could have really won this battle hands down, I think, if they would have played the play call better. Although Central is in the zone this season. I mean, very balanced, yo. I mean, it's like I play Central hella times. I've never seen them be as balanced as they are this year. So good job for Central. And that goes for their rap songs too. We talk about that. We talk about that. But anyway, South Carolina State played Boogie Oogie Oogie. Good job, man. Two was hitting, that bass line, some disco bass line. So it was like dum 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 dum, like a lot of, great job with that.
You said they played better than Southern.
They played better than who?
Southern.
I don't know, but it was really good though, man. It was rocking, y'all. It was, I'm telling you, really good. I don't know if it compares, but it was good. And also, I put the ballad round. South Carolina State won that with Sweet Love. Even though that's kind of like a hat song, but they did a really good job. Shout out to both of the bands, man. I wish the battle was longer. I feel like they could have taken that battle and made it a gym battle. Like that's how good I thought that they were. It was an evenly matched battle, and I haven't seen that from the MEAC in a long time. So shout out to North Carolina Central and South Carolina State, man. Great job. I'm very excited to see where those bands go, because those bands to me have kind of been like the sleeper bands, but they have gotten a lot of exposure because they have good football teams. They're like, I don't know. It's a weird. Those two schools is a weird thing, but that was a really good battle. So I'm excited to see them. But moving on. We're gonna stay in North Carolina. North Carolina A&T versus Hampton. Now, again, go on our YouTube page, Crank Up HBCU Band Podcast. We did a review on that one. And okay, you want to start? What's your thoughts on the battle?
Man, look. First, I was going into this battle pretty blind. I haven't really seen too much A&T this year. I ain't seen none of Hampton this year. I'm not gonna kid y'all, man. So going into it, I'm like, look, whatever happens, battle 15 minutes long, just about 15, 16 minutes long. We're going to get a couple of like 3-4 rounds. It's going to be what it is. It's going to wrap up. Real quick one. I wasn't expecting too much. I will say, watching this battle, I was thoroughly surprised. Why was I thoroughly surprised? Why, Vidal? Why were you thoroughly surprised? I'm going to tell you why. Look, so Hampton really did a good job of responding well to A&T. Although I believe in the battle, they could have done a better job of putting themselves out there and taking it. They responded well. Traditionally, in the mind of like a bandhead, right? Let's take you into the mind of a bandhead that's let's say you from Memphis. Like let's say you're a bandhead from Memphis. You don't be watching A&T like that. You don't be watching Hampton like that.
Or Hampton, yeah.
You don't be watching style. So you thinking, man, these little bands over in the MEAC East Coast, they're not gonna have none for me. Or Hampton's just trash, or whatever you want to think. I don't know. I'm just putting stuff out there. So Hampton did a good job of being aggressive towards the end of the battle, man. So to give you a quick rundown of how it went, Hampton started off with Hot in Here, right? We had a little up-tempo feel to it. It was more like party and fun. And A&T came with Chicago. So what we know, Chicago was years back a Michael Jackson classic that the band world, everybody had a version, man. Everybody had a version of it. But A&T did a really good job of that. And Hampton said, okay, we play Michael Jackson. We're going to hit you with Liberian Girl. And Horatio was telling me that it's the same arrangement that A&T played. But it really didn't give me that same impact or effect that I get when I hear Liberian Girl from A&T. Southern has a great Liberian Girl. Stillman had a great Liberian Girl. Texas Southern had a great Liberian Girl. So to me, that's a song that is great, easy to capture and have a great band moment with. Hampton really didn't take me there with it, but it was enjoyable and they sounded good. Hampton has a really good sound this year. A&T came back. Help me out. What they play?
A&T came back.
The Isley Brother jank, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they played Isley Brother mix. Isley Brother mix was really, really well done, right? But after this, you started to see a turn in both the groups and both the bands.
Right.
After Auntie played the Isley Brother mix, Hampton responded with Golden Time of Day. And for those first 2 rounds, they had a really solid sound. They was playing together very well. But right at that moment, you start seeing those individuals blare out. I felt like, even from an emotional standpoint, that as well as Hampton did those first 2 rounds, it would have been like, oh, dang, we could actually give it to him. We actually playing with him. We can actually take it. But I felt like they got out of themselves and kind of lost and dropped the ball a little bit.
Right.
A&T, when they went into their rap bag, they started getting their own blaring issues. Mellophones playing outside of the band and was out of tune with each other. So when you have that type of ordeal going on and that specific style of band too, it makes the problem even worse.
Right.
Horatio, he mentioned a trumpet issue that was going on at A&T, so it really made me listen in as to the parts and what they're doing. And they did have some moments where they were sticking out, not playing well together. And this is where the aggression started to happen between these 2 bands. So really not something that you really would have expected from these 2 organizations and programs in 2023 to have that aggressive side to them, but it was really pleasant to see. However, I would have liked them to stay true to themselves as far as the execution. Give me the energy, give me the power, give me the aggressiveness, but don't lose who you are at the end of the day. With all that said,
I think that's a side effect of just the down south band culture cranking up that whole thing. Like sometimes that culture isn't facilitated well in your school because, like you said, it's not part of your identity like that. And with these men schools, they try to do it in their own way, and they end up not achieving the goal. Like for A&T, they played a song called "Annihilate," right? Which I was saying on the video, there was a video of them, playing it, and it's been kind of put on Instagram and put in different chats and groups and stuff like that, and it sounds bad. It's their trumpets are kind of getting exposed. So they played that same song in this battle, not really like stepping up to me and like making that song better. So yeah, I feel like I wanted to explain the trumpet issue, but yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, let's small segue, right? Cranking up takes practice, man. People, if you really don't do that, if that's not your style, and you think you're just gonna add air and play louder, it doesn't work that way. You have to work to get that type of sound, man. It just doesn't happen just trying to push yourself to be louder. In order to play at that velocity, that intensity, and that volume and still keep your sound and play together is very difficult. And I feel like in the band world altogether, people don't really talk about how difficult that style of play is because it's very risky. High risk, high reward, because if you get that in there, you get those moments you're pushing, it's like the skies open up, the world is like,
everything opens up.
But if you fail, you crack that note, just like a big,
and nothing is worse.
Bad.
But nothing is worse playing and hearing the bad woos. Oh man, that because you have to continue, because you have to finish, and that's the worst thing is that you have to continue the song. But yeah, any final things for A&T and Hampton?
I had A&T slightly edging that one. Good job, Hampton. I wish they would have played. I think 2 more rounds. 2 more rounds, it would have been a decisive win. I think I had an edge on A&T.
Yeah. I gave A&T the edge, but strictly because of I don't want to say size, man, because I want to say their song so much better. The Isley Brothers thing was really good. It was something different. I think it set them apart. But like you said, after they played the Isley Brothers thing, and here's where Hampton as a small band loses, they went and they played Golden Time of Day, which is like another older song. So it's like you're trying to jump, bro. We're at Hampton. Plant your feet on the ground, and you know what I'm saying. We're at Hampton's homecoming. Don't go with what A&T is doing. So I feel like that's another reason why they could have lost, because they were waiting to see what A&T was playing, even though they started the battle. And so that just shows confidence in your play calling. So that's something I think that the staff at Hampton probably needs to work on. Just confidence within themselves to assert themselves their program in a better light. But overall, like you said, I gave an edge to A&T. Of course, I'm gonna do that. But okay, moving on.
Right.
And this is our last battle before we talk about the next week's matchups. Southern versus Texas Southern. This battle to me is always has been interesting for the past couple of years based on the history that the staff has. Obviously, Mr. Simmons, he was at Southern for a long time, and now he's the head band director at Texas Southern. So, even though I'm sure there's a lot of love between them, it's still a battle. So when we come together, we're going to make sure that they get the best out of both programs. What do you think about this battle and all the hype that's going around it, based on the history?
Based on the history, like take me before the battle happened, right? Is Saturday night, Sunday morning, whenever you watch your band videos, right? And you see Texas Southern versus Southern, 5th quarter, 55 minutes long. At Southern. So you like, we got something. We got something. Right? Because these last 2 matchups that we've seen of since Brian Simmons, Mr. Simmons was the band director at Texas Southern, was at the Arlington Football Classic. So neutral territory, not really a home game for either one. So this is first time back at Mumford, right? Coming into it, we haven't seen Southern too much this season. We've seen they had 1 or 2 songs with Bassoon, and then they had Jackson State, and we also seen them up against Alabama State, but that was weeks ago. So you have Southern, who's been in after this battle seems like the hyperbolic chamber for a couple weeks, getting themselves beefing up. And then you have Texas Southern, who we've seen, but we haven't seen really out there since the Grambling game. Right. So coming into it, long battle, we could tell both bands been working on their content. Out the gate, I can't remember the name of the song that Texas Southern played, but it was it's a rock song, right? But it's pretty famous. You hear it in movie trailers, all this stuff. It's one of those. So it's not like all white people or people who like rock music. No, the general public will pretty much know this one, right? And you have Southern play something that's really groovy. Before it's a long battle, so I'm not gonna go play by play with this whole 55-minute one.
Yeah, we can.
But the overall theme was Southern was very groovy and using their presence and sound to their advantage over Texas Southern, and Southern's ability to blend together, and play long and steady with a solid wall of sound, as well as the presence of that mellophone section, really gave them an edge to me, an advantage in the overall sound. However, it was so competitive because Texas Southern was present every single round. Every single arrangement that they played, started off with Texas Southern first, it demanded respect. You had to respond to it. You couldn't dodge it. You couldn't count it out. They was present. I think the barriers for Texas Southern is, and what I've seen over these past 2 years, it just doesn't seem like the band really gels and fits with the arrangements. You'll hear the notes being played and you'll hear the arrangement. It's just like, I could hear more from this. Or it doesn't seem like they really feel it or they're into it. It seems like they learn it with their fingers and they know where the rests are. They know what the right notes are, but it doesn't, the music doesn't encapsulate them and they deliver it to you. I think that is just like the missing piece for them. As well, they could beef up a little bit to have things transfer over, but trumpets had a great sound. The tubas had a great sound. Great song selections. To me, I enjoyed the Rock the Boat was one of the overall best feelings and arrangement and style that we see tonight as a complete package. Top to bottom, I think this is one of the best fits of the year. What you think about this battle?
Definitely. First of all, I think Texas Southern needs more trombones. They have to beef up in trombones if they really want this. To me, the sound that they really want. Like you said, as far as the barrier to them. Obviously, we know that they've been directors at Southern his whole career. So Southern, their songs are a little bit more. I want to say, how can we put this? I'm not saying that it's harder, but it's a lot more. It's a lot more that than what Texas Southern was playing in the past. So I feel like they prepared as far as like how we talked about with who we said like they had a lot of up tempo like Mississippi Valley and Alcorn or Mississippi Valley and Jackson. They had a lot of up tempos. Like they were prepared to really show their hand as far as this is our musicality. And Southern played the audience role. I mean, played to the audience and really grooved it out and really like made you sing or whatever. Meanwhile, Texas Southern's over here doing all this, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of notes on the page. They're doing a lot. And of course, that can get misconstrued because a lot of these players, come on now, we're trying to get to the good part. You know, a lot of these type of songs. And the runs aren't the fun part if it's a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? If it's a lot that you have to do. So I feel like that's a barrier with Texas Southern. But like you said, every single song that they played, it was in there. And Southern knew that was in there. That's why they turned several times. They were definitely like in the battle. It was an hour, but it really didn't feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Like it went by. It wasn't like a battle. I was like, oh, I really enjoyed it. And I feel like Texas Southern, when they see Southern, because of the history, they really are coming to prove a point. And I feel like Southern takes that on too. But shout out to both their staffs. There were a lot of clips I saw a clip of Brian Simmons conducting one of his arrangements with Southern, which is, you know what I'm saying, good. It's definitely good to see they still have that kind of chemistry and bond because we all know how it is when people leave and go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? It can be a lot of bad blood. So that's good that we're, keeping that within the HBCU community. But shout out to both of their staffs, man. I thought it was a really good battle. Like you said, one of the best battles we've seen of this year. Check out our review of it on YouTube. And anything else to close out this, and then we can talk about next week's previews.
Right. I think I did want to touch on this one. I didn't do last time, but when it comes to runs, right? Let's talk about runs real quick. Mm-hmm. When it comes to runs, man, either play them clean or don't play them. To me, Texas Southern played better runs in their music than the Southern. Southern had some runs in their songs where if it wasn't going up the scale with the trumpets, or if it was something the band had to play together as a run, it was muddy. It was a lot more dirty. And I have to give Texas Southern for being clean as they were, man, even though some songs it really didn't feel like it gelled, but it was like, dang, it's cleaner, but it's just not really giving me the feeling I want to. So that's what just, and when that happens with a band, it really just pulls at you like, dang, I could see what y'all want to do with this, but it's just not quite there yet, But I think I agree with Horatio overall. It's just great to see both of them. And I think that let's talk about stadiums. Let me talk about that one too, man. I felt like in this battle in particular, Southern being on the home side, on their side of the stadium, and Texas Southern being in the corner, played a role. Do I think it would have changed the outcome of the battle? No. I feel like it would have made the margins closer, though, and I felt like as an audience, we might have had different feelings about how close the battle was or even our overall enjoyment from the battle, because when I hear the Texas Southern, I'm looking at them like, I'm hearing them like, it's there, but something's just not, it's quite as expansive or wide as Southern sound, right? But then I go look at Southern in other places, I'm like, it's not the same as they are when they're at home, right? What can you do? You got to deal with it if you go in there. So when you go, any band, when you go to Southern, to play Southern, you really have to take it. And I think that's another thing that was difficult in this battle for Texas Southern. They had a lot of great songs and great rounds, but I don't feel like anything that they played was just taking it as far as shifting the tides of the battle in their favor. It was like, this is really good. Southern, what can you do with that? Right. And Southern plays something really good. And like, okay, Southern, really good. So it's like Texas Southern plays like, hey, that's really good. Southern, what can you do with that? Southern plays something really good. It really didn't have no like, ooh, that's it, for Texas Southern.
Definitely, man. Definitely. A standout from that battle was "Escapism" from Southern. That was a really good one. I had to look it up to see what was the name of the song. But I never heard a band play that, and I thought it was really good. "Escapism." That's my first time hearing them play that. So shout out to Southern. That's probably my song of the week. Do you have a song of the week from any of these battles? If not, we can move on to next week's predictions.
What's it? They played Southern played it in the Zero. First song of the Zero. If you look it up, the first song Southern played in the Zero.
Definitely, you got face off homework. All right, okay. Predictions. Here we go. Now you know what we do.
All right.
First, the first band you think is going to win. That's the first band we're going to say. All right, and then we might have like a little discussion on why. Maybe we haven't seen this band for a long time. Just to re-up on all the battles, and we're going to get our takes on it. Okay, Delaware State versus Morgan State.
Morgan.
Say Delaware State. I think Delaware State is a little bit more, like they have a little more battle. Morgan State is it's very dancey. They're not really here to battle like that. Howard versus South Carolina State.
South Carolina State.
South Carolina State. Norfolk versus North Carolina Central.
Norfolk.
Bethune versus Mississippi Valley. I swear that's probably not gonna happen at all. That's gonna be that's a weird battle, if anything. That's crazy.
Cool.
Pause. Versus Alabama A&M.
You're right. Now,
what?
let's say you do that battle, right? And Bethune hits you with all ballots, but they different ones.
They're right, different ones. But we also have Bethune in their book, but if they can really do some weird stuff like that, they can throw a lot of bands off and actually win a battle on the slide. No, for real. Okay. FAMU versus Alabama A&M. That's gonna be a good one.
I'll go FAMU.
I go A&M. Okay, Southern versus Alcorn.
Oh, Southern.
Alcorn didn't really show me that much in the Valley game. I mean, if you really can't put away Valley, you're not gonna be able to put away Southern. Mm-hmm. And that's true. UAPV versus Prairie View.
PV, not PB, but PV, Prairie View.
PV. Texas Southern versus Jackson State. I think they need to do the same. Look, take our advice and what we just said, because it can be a lot better battle if you was just to relax a little bit. But then again, they don't have that Southern pressure that I'm sure they feel. So I'm sure they'll be a lot more relaxed. I think their play calling will be a little more relaxed, and I think that'll help them out. Grambling versus Alabama State.
Good battle. Alabama State.
Alabama State. You said Grambling?
No, I was tripping.
I said Alabama State. Virginia State versus Virginia Union.
State.
Virginia State. Bowie versus Lincoln. We gotta watch some of these bands. I haven't seen any of these bands this year. Livingstone versus Don C. Smith. Say Livingstone. Shaw versus St. Aug. Come on, man. You gotta give me a pick. Shaw. No. Central State versus Kentucky State.
Central.
Kentucky, man. Come on, man. Winston versus Fayetteville State.
Can you hear Kentucky this year?
No, I haven't. I'm going off. Look, Kentucky was our band of the year last year. All right, and they're up here in my eyes. I haven't seen them this year. I really haven't seen much of them this year. Kentucky. Winston-Salem versus Fayetteville State.
Let's go Fayetteville.
I'm going Winston. Albany State versus Fort Valley. And Tuskegee versus Miles. Shannon put in the chat. I know I'm late, but Hampton versus T battle was underwhelming. T and Southern did what it do. Right. I know you missed it, man, but yes. We were talking about that. Apparently, A&T had a battle to go to, so they had to leave, like a high school battle. But yeah.
Okay.
So he also said, hopefully don't get caught slipping. I think he meant by North Carolina Central. We were talking about how North Carolina Central this year is one of the best programs I've seen, them beat. So I'm excited for that. Manny, do you have anything for this episode? We talked about stadiums. Anybody in the chat want to talk about any band conversation, but the overall topic is stadiums. Do you think that stadiums really, enhances or takes away anything like that? And man, do you have any final words for the show?
Man, shout out to y'all fans. Shout out to all the bands. Did you if you didn't watch it, we're not gonna talk about it. Did you watch Magic City Classic?
Oh no, who's that? That's A&M in State, right?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. No. Oh man.
We'll try to talk about it next week.
Yeah.
Quick notes with it. To me, it wasn't anything super crazy. It wasn't one of those like you missed it. Like, oh no, it was pretty. They did for what we've seen them to do this season. I feel like we've seen both Knicks fans in great positions to showcase what they had. Even with they had some similar opponents with Jackson State and also coming up with FAMU. So we'll definitely talk about that. We'll see how that one goes. But thanks to all the listeners. You can check us out on YouTube and watch our reactions and see how we break videos down in our in-time band brains and how we analyzing these bands and picking them apart in preparations for the show, man. So
definitely,
that's all I got for you.
And you can find all of those on Crank Up HBCU Band podcast YouTube page. Shannon also put not so much stadiums but band placement. Yeah, we talked about that as well. The band placement as far as where they sit and if they have a turn and that whole thing is definitely important. So we appreciate you guys this week. We'll see you guys next week. Like I said, follow the page at It's a Face Off. Follow Crank Up Pod on YouTube. Follow me at Horatio Radio on all social media.
Come on, we want to do this every week, man.
Come on, man. I know. I'm thinking every week that you'll get an Instagram or something.
It's not gonna happen. However, in the comments, tell us your band fight stories.
Oh yeah. We talk about band fights. Yeah, and we talk about band fights, not just fights. We're talking about fights in uniform. All right, everybody done fought at practice. We didn't see everybody fight at practice. We get that. Fights in a uniform. We need to see that in the comments. All right, you need to see your stories and everything. Again, guys, we appreciate you. A ref tried to screw up me at a downstairs game one year for not letting him cut rank. See, we were talking about that. What? A ref squared up. He's like, man, God, this is just the band. Hey man, I told y'all, when band people feel threatened because you kind of like belittle them a little bit, I promise you, they're gonna take it there in uniform and they don't care who sees.
If there's like 5 things, right? If there was like 5 things that get you to a fight in band, cutting rank is like number 1. Cutting rank is number 1.
No, definitely. All right, guys. Again, we say we appreciate you guys. Make sure you follow It's a Face Off. And definitely be right back here next week. We'll see you guys then. Peace.